as we seek path of progress through maritime education and trade for the people of the Caribbean. We pray for and remember tonight all those who have suffered under the hurricanes Irma and Maria, especially those hardest hit on the islands of Dominica, St. John, St. Martin, St. Thomas, Puerto Rico. We give you thanks for those who donated time and talent to bring them comfort and care. Grace with your wisdom tonight, all those gathered here, captains of industry, commerce, trade, benefactors and friends. The time to act is now. Let them move forward generously to bring development through education and create prosperity by economic opportunity. May they know that true progress is not measured so much in profit and capital gains, but rather by the greater number of people that are afforded the chance of a better life and the promise of hope for future generations. We ask this in your most precious name. Amen. Amen. God bless this assembly and all those present. Thank you.
Thank you, Father. In 1980, the Caribbean Maritime Institute was founded in Kingston, Jamaica, to enable students in the region a vocation on the high seas around the world. 1 year ago, under the leadership of Consul General Dr. Geneive Brown Metzger, the American Caribbean Maritime Foundation was launched. Shortly thereafter, the original institute was internationally recognized as a university. The university today is the first specialized public university in the region and the first in Jamaica to be established at the international level under the leadership of Dr. Fritz Pinnock. And I hope you will all see the university's incredibly beautiful newsletter tonight that will be available. The maritime and shipping industry is sort of a silent majority, described as 90% of everything by a thought leader and author recently. The industry's significance is in a way even more pivotal in the Caribbean, as large percentages of their economies in the region depend on some aspect of shipping, whether it is tourism, containerism, logistics, and the like. With the expansion of the Panama Canal, the explosion of the logistics in the post-industrial era, no other time in the region's development has there been a greater opportunity to exploit the huge growth potential of this global industry. The American Caribbean Maritime Foundation came about because of this development. We see the preparation of a cadre of workers to fill positions in this industry as our strategic mission. And a priority of the foundation is increasing the number of women in this sector, and most recently support for students, as the Father Mark just mentioned, displaced by the many recent hurricanes in the Caribbean. Now I would like to introduce you to Fern Kahn, Dean Emerita of the Bank Street College, and is Richard here yet? Yes, perfect. And Richard Sheff, CEO of Montgomery McCracken. Fern and Richard, please come up.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Speaking to the microphone.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It's really a great pleasure to see you all here today. And before I introduce our esteemed director, I would like you to meet Richard Sheff, who is the CEO of Montgomery McCracken and our host whenever we have our meetings. Richard?
Late, but traffic is always a factor here in Newtown. It's great to see a full room. Thank you for coming. This is an amazing organization that's getting off the ground, and hopefully everyone in this room can support it in one way, shape, or form. It's a region that obviously has been devastated over the last several months. There's tremendous opportunity for the people there. There's tremendous opportunity for business. And our hope is that everyone can somehow support the organization as we are today and we will in the future. So thank you for coming, and Fern, I'll turn this back over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. Well, I have the important task of introducing to you Geneive Brown Metzger. Geneive Brown Metzger has lived most of her life in the United States. However, she remains very much a Jamaican American, committed to finding ways of giving back to Jamaica. As Jamaica's Consul General from 2008 to 2012, Geneive has not only brought significant investment dollars to Jamaica, but she also brought innovative programming to the New York Consulate Office. Among those was a well-received panel discussion bringing attention to the rich and historical significance of the Jamaican Jewish community. For her many accomplishments as Consul General, Geneive was awarded an honorary doctorate by Jamaica's University of Technology. However, in order to serve Jamaica, Geneive had to relinquish her United States citizenship, which she finally regained in 2017. So it's many years that she has been without the US citizenship. She's now working through the foundation to bring the Caribbean and the United States together. Being a thought leader, Geneive saw that the expansion of the Panama Canal held a huge growth potential in the maritime industry for the Caribbean. This awareness and her commitment to the Caribbean led to her founding the American Caribbean Maritime Foundation, and this is why you're here tonight. But this is not her only activity. There is more. Geneive is currently producing Caribbean World, a business and foreign investment series to be aired on Bloomberg television. In that pipeline is China's Caribbean, a film on how China is shaping the future of the Caribbean and leapfrogging its economic destiny. She's also producing a documentary focused on the Caribbean because, as a custodian of the Caribbean narrative and a keen observer of local and global events, she believes that if you don't tell your own story, someone else will get it wrong. I love that. I couldn't agree with her more. In the interest of time, I will only state that Geneive has received numerous awards and citations, including the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce. Geneive is also International Chair of the Caribbean Maritime University, located in Jamaica, as you heard earlier, and the founder and president of the American Caribbean Maritime Foundation. Please join me in welcoming Geneive Brown Metzger.
That's the worst part of the program for me, the introduction. I don't know who you were talking about, but I didn't recognize her. But really, let's get to the real reason that we are here. It's really to talk about maritime and the kids who are so deserving. But before I get to that, I really want to add my voice to Richard, to immense thanks to you and Montgomery McCracken. It's very interesting how we became associated with the group. We won't go into that story tonight, but it's all wonderful. And now they're hosting our meetings, and today we were very, very proud and privileged indeed to have confirmed 2 of their senior partners on our law firm. And already I can tell you tonight, it would not be possible, this event would not be possible were it not for your good support and your kind generosity. We really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Fern. You are a tremendous mentor to me, and you have so much experience in this world of nonprofit that I hang on your every word, so I really appreciate it. And to Jim. Jim is quite a remarkable man. He comes from a long family of people in media. His great-grandfather was the founder of the American War College, his grandfather of Harvard University, his great-grandfather of Time Warner. So we're very, very pleased to have you on our board as well, Jim. Now, to our honored guest, the Honorable Michael Henry, Jamaica's Minister of Transport and Mining, and his lovely wife, Mrs. Henry, Attorney Juliet Mayer Rose, Ministerial Advisor, welcome to you all. And I was going to apologize for the awful weather, but it changed today. It's quite lovely. And were it not have to have changed, the warm hearts in this room, Minister, I'm sure you're feeling all the love, so it's just great to really have you. To Consul General Trudy Deans, please welcome. And to Consul John Blackman, representing Barbados, we're very happy to have you here as well. And let me add also that Ms. Zhao Yu Wang, the Education Officer from the Chinese embassy is gracing us with her presence here today. And certainly the presence of these international figures speaks to the international nature and importance of our organization. And I don't know if President Alfoutis is here yet, the president of the SUNY Maritime College. He and his wife Kim were supposed to have been here. But also it's very interesting that the tentacles of this organization is beginning to reach far and wide, because we have Taniki McCarthy Allen, who got on the plane and came to New York just to be part of this event. You might want to know, I don't know about the business of alcohol and college students, but I think I would be remiss if I didn't say that Campari bought Appleton, you know, the staple Appleton product, just 10 years ago. So now we have them in the family as well. And a very special thank you to Milbank Tweed, represented here by Tamika Bent. Tamika, years ago when we had this notion of forming the organization, was through her instrumentality that we were able to bring on the prestigious firm of Milbank Tweed to navigate this very, very difficult, onerous and process of getting a nonprofit. You don't want to know the scrutiny of the IRS to get to this point. Years ago, it was just filling out a form and waiting 9 months. It's pages and pages of application, oversight, and reporting to the IRS. So we came through, and we came through well, thanks to the law firm of Milbank Tweed and Tamika's support. And of course, to our board of directors, Jim Luce, I mentioned Rona Ramsey, who her firm is upstairs. You know, this is a powerful black woman who is general counsel at Mitsubishi. There's a crisis in Japan, she tells me, so I don't know if she went upstairs yet, but she came down for a few minutes. And of course to Robert O'Connor and Vincent Dorchis of Montgomery McCracken, thank you very much for serving. Michelle Nicholas, Carleen Leiden-Walker, who served on the, and Ferd, who served on the event committee. The contributions of these resources at the time, resources of the board, and all of you gathered here make this organization setting it off to an amazing start. And of course, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. Now, I won't talk long, but I think it's important to set a context here for why maritime is so important. So let me provide a little bit of background. A few years ago I read this book. Jim made mention of it, 90% of everything. My interest in shipping began. I mean, the woman Rose George is a writer of thriller and adventure books. So how the dickens is she going to hold forth on shipping and logistics? But anyway, I read this amazing book and fell in love with the maritime industry. She talked about logistics in a way that would, I mean, providing some facts that would make you scratch your head. It's like, you know, how many people are involved in transporting your cornflakes from one side of the world to the next. Stories about pirates and all that sort of thing, swashbuckling pirates here and there. And she melds this in with a remarkable tale, providing facts about the maritime industry. She makes this point, which I don't know whether it's a pro or a con, but maybe the maritime professionals can appreciate it here. Shipping is so cheap that it makes more financial sense, she says, for Scottish cod to be sent 10,000 miles to China to be filleted than sent back to Scottish shops for processing, she writes. And therein lies the value proposition of why it is so important when 60% of the world's ships, cargo and otherwise, cruise, come through the Caribbean Sea. We need to really be getting those jobs and putting people in those jobs. This all happened at a time when Jamaica was exploring, or developing a logistics hub to exploit the expansion of the Panama Canal. Jim mentioned a little bit about that. And until the discussion of the logistics hub, we hadn't really seen any major industrial development in the region. Many of you are old enough to remember bauxite. Jamaica was kind of the center of the bauxite economy. And that meant a lot in terms of bringing the region out of colonial past and out of really, very tough economic situation. Logistics holds that for us. The minister, who is our honoree, will speak more on that, but that is the context in which we are organizing ourselves around a foundation to be able to support students who are studying in that profession and who hope to get the jobs, certainly those jobs that are affecting our economy. Another area is that the industry nonetheless remains dominated by men. So part of our focus is to increase the number of women in the industry. And as was alluded to earlier by Richard, many islands have been devastated by the recent hurricanes. And what has happened is that there are many, many displaced students. So we are establishing a bridge scholarship for students who want to come to the Caribbean Maritime Institute to finish their degree. So here we are. We have serious work to do, and each and every one of you here, I'm sure, can play a very important, critical role. So I wanted you to get excited about what we do, about the ACMF, and I hope that this is only the beginning opportunity for you to really become involved. Thank you very much for coming, and I'll turn now over to Jim.
So now we have many consul generals in the room, and I'm very, very honored to have Your Excellencies present. I'd like to bring up the consul generals of Jamaica, Barbados, and China. So if Consul General of Jamaica, Trudy Deans, could come up, and Consul General of Barbados, Dr. Donna Hunt Cox, or her associate. And Wen Xiaoyu, Consul of China. If you could all join us, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Minister of Transport and Mining, the Honorable Mike Henry, Mrs. Geneive Brown Metzger, President of the American Caribbean Maritime Foundation, other special guests, sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is indeed a privilege and an honor to have been asked to bring greetings this evening at an event that is timely and essential, one that seeks to support the human resource capacity of Jamaica and other Caribbean islands. The Consulate General of Jamaica in New York has the responsibility for the largest mission in the Jamaican Foreign Service, covering a jurisdiction of 33 states, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda. Our overall focus is on investment, trade, and diaspora engagement, of which this reception is well positioned. I am heartened by this foundation's mission of providing academic scholarships and grants to maritime students in the Caribbean. As a human resource specialist, I'm always eager to assist organizations or individuals who seek to contribute to educational development, especially in Jamaica, as we still face some challenges to meet critical employment needs in the shipping and logistics industry, an industry which now has an enormous potential for employment. In fact, more than 60% of all cruise and cargo ships worldwide traverse the Caribbean region, and there's an undersupply of trained workers to satisfy the needs of the industry. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, any initiative that seeks to provide training and educational opportunities must be commended and supported. In this era of information and technological advancement, only countries with a well-trained workforce will be able to take advantage of the expanded world trade as a logistic hub. As noted recently by the Prime Minister, work is at the advanced stage in making Jamaica the premier logistics hub in the Caribbean. He also noted that the special economic zones regulations now in effect is expected to open up significant economic opportunities for Jamaicans in employment generation, manufacturing, small business development, and foreign exchange earnings. I'm sure Minister Mike Henry will elaborate on this more, but Jamaica is on a growth and prosperity mission, and the maritime trade has a critical and unique role to play in reducing poverty and spurring economic growth. I'm to commend the team, the founders, the directors, and the volunteers at the American Caribbean Maritime Foundation for dedicating their effort, time, and other resources to establish this non-profit organization to support students at the university in Kingston, Jamaica. In closing, let me congratulate all the awardees for their support and contribution to education, and to the directors of the foundation for acknowledging these cheerful givers. At the Consulate, we are always delighted to be associated with these diaspora organized events as they continue to big up brand Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and God bless you all.
Wonderful, thank you so much. So next I would like to bring up a colleague, Carleen Leiden-Walker, a member of the ACMF board and also president of the North American Marine Environment Protection Association. Carleen.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome to everyone who came here tonight in order to support this wonderful organization. My role really is to explain a little bit about why I'm here. Has anybody ever tried to say no to Geneive? I don't recommend it. At any rate, I was introduced to Geneive and the idea behind the foundation about a year ago through Murray Fisher, who founded the New York Harbor School on Governor's Island. And what Murray Fisher has demonstrated is that if you give kids a focus, they will succeed. Murray takes his students from all over the 5 boroughs of New York, and his graduation rate is extraordinary. He's given them a focus, he's given them a mission, he's given them an ideal, and they've succeeded. I've been in the maritime industry for 25 years now. I've been in love with it for my entire life. And I have a zeal and a passion for this industry because I see it as a pathway for students. I'm going to quote Congressman Elijah Cummings. 3 years ago, I ran an event down in Maryland, and he was my opening keynote. And Congressman Cummings from Baltimore said, if they can't see it, they can't dream it. So what the CMU is doing is giving students a chance to see it, to see the possibilities of life, to see that there are jobs out there. They recruit students from all over the Caribbean and give them an education in an industry that will send them around the world, that will give them limitless possibilities. And Jamaica is uniquely positioned to house the Caribbean Maritime University because it really is the center point and the maritime center for the Caribbean. And this has been going on for many years, probably your entire history. But it's even more relevant now with the opening of the Panama Canal. As Rose George said in her book, 90% of everything travels by ship. It does, and everything you're wearing tonight, and I mean everything, traveled by ship. So it is an honor for me to be part of this organization, and what tipped me to yes is that I found out a year ago that the Caribbean has ratified our international regulations on marine pollution, 86%, but only 24% have implemented that. So my goal is to form a Marine Pollution Academy at CMU so that the Caribbean will protect itself through education about maritime pollution. So that's why I'm engaged today. But whether you have a connection to the maritime industry or whether you have a connection to giving students an opportunity to be successful in life, maritime education has proven that we can take kids and we can give them the tools for a lifetime of success. So thank you again for coming tonight, and I look forward to getting to know all of you. Good evening.